So it may be hard to tell on camera, but the colors are a little bit more bold on the DSi XL, just a little bit more bold. But the main thing is that the image is a little bit softened here on the 3DS XL. So it has a finer resolution on the screen. So what happens is you get kind of like a blurring effect. Whereas on the DS, even though the resolution is finer on the 3DS XL, on the DSi XL, it still maintains the same ratio, pixel ratio, so you don't get that blurring effect. So if you compare that there, it's much more blurry on the 3DS, substantially so. Not that it's bad, but it's definitely blurrier. But if we do a comparison between these two devices, the two DSs, they're nearly identical. And that's because they maintain the same pixel ratio, even though this is a smaller screen. Okay, so here we go back in, actually in game. So you can see there, that non-IPS screen. You can definitely see it, but you'll see the colors really pop in as I get over top. Whereas on the these two, it maintains the colors. Not as bad on the top screen. The DSi and the DS Lite have the exact same pixel ratio as the DSi XL. So you're not going to be getting any blurring on the DSi XL, even though the image is blown up. You will be able to see slightly more pixels just because it's physically a larger screen. So to the naked eye, you can see slightly more, but it looks quite crisp on either model. The main difference here then is obviously going to be, other than size and ergonomics, the fact that the DSi XL always comes with IPS screen, so you can see you get better colors there, especially at certain viewing angles. But either way, they both look great, so it really would actually come down to, in my opinion, form factor. You can get DSi's and DS Lites for quite cheap. You're not going to pay a lot for them. DSi XLs are a lot harder to find, and you pay quite a bit more. So if you can't find one, definitely go with the DSi, or the DS Lite. But really, both are fine. So here we go again. We'll just do a quick audio check again. So sound is definitely going to go to the new 3DS XL. So you can see here in terms of imagery, the main difference is the DS has, I guess I'd call it a crisper image. There's quite a bit of blurring on the 3DS XL. Okay, so you can see the colors are quite nice on both. Very, very similar, not really noticeable. but the text is definitely blurrier on the 3DS XL there. This is a bit of an odd comparison because I have two IPS screens and a lot of people don't. So this is an actual direct IPS to IPS comparison here. But you're always taking a gamble with the 3DS. So if it's just for DS, the DSi XL, you're guaranteed to have these great screens. And really the picture just looks quite stunning actually on this here. So that would be, I'd say, the winner if you're going to play exclusively DS games. But if you want to have access to 3DS as well, the 3DS is slightly more expensive, but if you can find one in good condition, which is probably a bit easier, basically because they're newer. There's also the 2DS XL options as well. There's definitely nothing wrong with going this route either. So really the takeaway here is that there's really no wrong way to play the DS. The original DS here, the DSi and the DS Lite are both excellent options. They are very well priced and pretty easy to find. This one's in immaculate condition. The condition can vary. You can get some that are broken hinges and that, but overall it's quite nice. So definitely this is a great option for you. The only downside would be potentially that it's a smaller size, so the screen is physically smaller on this device, but it's also very, very portable. Like this is slightly larger than a deck of cards basically. Between the DSi XL and the 3DS XL, the 3DS XL, I mean, you're getting blurring of the picture essentially because you have more pixels and the ratio is slightly off. So, it's a little bit more blurry, but in terms of being able to do it all, I mean, the 3DS is obviously going to be the winner because you can play 3DS games and you can play DS games. Whereas the DSi, you don't have access to 3DS games. If it's only for DS and you can get your hands on a DSi XL in good condition, it's definitely going to be cheaper. And in my opinion, the screens, you're not gambling with getting two IPS screens. This is a bit of an odd comparison because I have two IPS screens and a lot of people don't. So this is an actual direct IPS to IPS comparison here. But you're always taking a gamble with the 3DS. So if it's just for DS, the DSi XL, you're guaranteed to have these great screens. And really the picture just looks quite stunning actually on this here. So that would be, I'd say, the winner if you're going to play exclusively DS games. But if you want to have access to 3DS as well, the 3DS is slightly more expensive. But if you can find one in good condition, which is probably a bit easier, basically because they're newer. There's also the 2DS XL options as well. There's definitely nothing wrong with going this route either.